Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. So, last week you started learning about volume with Mr. Rogers. So, I thought that today we could review a little bit in case it was a little bit tricky. So, we have this rectangular prism sort where one way you could do it would be to cut out these cards and then sort them into their categories down here. So we have prism for all of the rectangular prisms would go in this category. The dimensions, the length, the width, and the height, those are the dimensions, would go into this category. And the volume, which would be something cubic units, right, would go into this category. So you could do it that way to line them all up, or you can do it the way I'm about to do it to show you. So we have one rectangular prism up here, I see. So let's figure this one out. We need to find out its dimensions. So we need the length, the width, and the height. So let's count the length. That's going to be the part that's across the front here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Our length is 4 units. Now let's figure out the width. I know we need that. So the width is going to be how deep our rectangular prism is. So let's count that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our width would be 5 units. Now, it's just a little hard to write on here, but usually I should be writing units for these. So we also need the height. This is a little tricky to figure out with these rectangular prisms because we can't see all of the units that fill up the prism. So we kind of have to think a little bit. So I can see for my height, I know would be how tall it is, right? So I see 1, 2, and actually there's going to be one more unit underneath these two, right? Because this row here, that's part of my width, is going to be holding up these two. So there needs to be one more unit underneath. So my height would be 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 units, right? Okay, so now we have our dimensions. So I'm going to put a 1 on this because this was our first rectangular prism we did. And I'm going to put a 1 also on the box that matches this, that has the dimensions we need. So right here, I see the length, 4 units, width, 5 units, height, 3 units. Perfect. So I'm going to put a 1 so I know these two go with each other. So now we need to figure out the volume. Now, last week you learned that the volume formula was the length times the width times the height. And you were able to watch a video that showed you why we can use that formula. So I need to use my dimensions to plug into the formula. I know my length is 4, my width is 5, my height was 3. So now I can multiply to figure out my volume. I know 5 times 4 is 20. And then I have my 3, so 20 times 3. Well, this I can do with mental math. I know that 2 times 3 is 6. So 20 times 3 would be 60, right? Now, when I do volume, I know I had units before. Now I have cubic units for my volume, right? Perfect. My writing is super messy. Oh, man. Okay, so my volume for this rectangular prism is 60 cubic units once we used our formula with our dimensions. So now I just need to find that box right here, 60 cubic units. I'm going to put a 1 on that box to show me that that one matches with these two. So I found my prism, my dimension,